Can everyone see the screen now? So if you can see the screen, just let me know that you can see the screen. Can everyone see the screen? Someone needs to respond so that I can move forward.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'll mute everyone and then I'll be stopping periodically so that you guys can ask questions. So we are discussing lab number 2 and how to go about it. So I'll assume you have briefly gone through it. So let me just go to the section for labs under Moodle. So we're doing lab number 2 full time. So I'll read these instructions and then we shall discuss how we go about lab 2 itself. So lab 2 focuses on some basic skills and tasks involved in creating a new presentation or PowerPoint, such as creating the presentation, editing the presentation, adding slides, rearranging it, and also printing a presentation. So in order to do this, you first need to download lecture 2 under the PowerPoint section. So what you simply do is, within Moodle, you are going to go to the part which says lecture PowerPoint. And then under that section, we have lecture PowerPoints here. We have the lecture slides to do with Word, lecture slides for PowerPoint, and then lecture slides for Excel. So under the lecture slides for PowerPoint, you are going to download lecture number 2 to help assist you go through the lab. So you first start by downloading lab 2 instruction file and all the accompanying files. So the lab 2 instruction file is this file here, and everything else is your accompanying file that will help you go through the lab. Next, you are supposed to briefly go through lecture 2, and then it will give you an idea of what it is that you'll be doing. Then you go through lab 3, or rather lab 2 instruction menu, so that you know exactly how you're going to work with lecture 2 and the lab instruction manual to go about the lab. So after you have a basic understanding, just hold on for a moment. All right, sorry, we are now back. Is everyone following?
Yes.
Okay, so first things first, you download the instruction manual and the accompanying documents. Once you do that, you should end up with a folder that looks something like this. So I've gone ahead and already downloaded the files myself. And this is what they'll look like on your PC. So you should have about 7 documents within your folder. Okay? So now once you've gone through your instructions on Moodle here, we are now going to go through the lab instruction document itself here, and also lecture number 2. So I'm now going to open lecture number 2. for the PowerPoint section for us to go through. Our lab. And we have lecture number 2 open up. Can everyone see lecture number 2?
Yes.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, bro.
Okay. So then what this simply means is we are first going to go through this file and then we shall go back to our PowerPoint. So the aim of this lab is to focus on some basic skills and tasks involving creating a new presentation, which is simply what's written here, such as how to choose the presentation, adding slides and text, organizing the slides, and printing out your presentation. Can everybody read what's on the screen, or I need to zoom in a bit more?
We can
That's
read.
correct.
Okay, perfect. Then,
Can read alone.
pardon? Everyone can see, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we have the objective stated as such, but what you guys are going to focus on is the task section. So we have 1 to 15 tasks that you guys should complete in conjunction with the lecture slide. So we go through our first task, which is number 1. So it says complete all the step-by-step exercises from slide number 1 to 24 in lecture 2. Save, this should have read, save all the files as instructed in the lecture slides using the naming convention. So the first instruction is to complete all the step-by-step exercises from 1 to 4. So that simply means going to your presentation lecture. So we start at page number 1. We read what's written on number 2. So these are basically the objectives and which objective number they fall under. Then we have an introduction to the software orientation of PowerPoint. And then in slide number 4, you have some introductory notes that you guys need to read through as you are working along in the lab. So we skip this, there is no step-by-step. Then when you reach lecture number 5, this is when you encounter your first step-by-step exercise. So all the slides have a title at the top. So this one has a title of creating a new blank presentation. And we have this slide which has step-by-step create a blank presentation at startup. So wherever you see a heading that says step-by-step, these are all the exercises that you are meant to do within the lab. So we've been instructed under task number 1 to complete all the step-by-step exercises from slide number 1 to 24 in lecture number 2. And in this scenario, our first step-by-step exercise starts on 5. So you simply go through each single step and execute them as they go. So we shall go through the first task as an example, and then you guys will go ahead and complete the remaining 14. So it says before you begin these steps, make sure that your computer is on. Obviously, you need your computer to be on in order to use PowerPoint. Sign into Windows if necessary. And then the first instruction says start PowerPoint. PowerPoint start screen appears as shown on the right, which is this. So in order to start PowerPoint, you need to go to your start menu and then search for PowerPoint. And once you click PowerPoint, you have this start menu, which is the same thing that is shown here on your right. That is as simple as it sounds. So you've completed task number 1. You move on to task number 2. Number 2 says, click blank presentation or press escape. A new blank presentation appears. Then it goes on to say, pause, leave the blank presentation open to use in the next exercise. So for now, I'll go to my startup and then click blank presentation. And we have our blank presentation created. So at this point, I have finished that step by step. So before I move on, can everyone go in the chat and type in the word blank presentation too, so that I can see if people are understanding. So in the group chat, I want everyone to type blank presentation.
I'm coming. Let's go.
Okay, so I have some blank presentation. There we go. Great. Great. So we are following. So now that you finished the step-by-step exercise on number 5, you move on to the next slide, which is 6. Can we zoom in a little further? There we go, which is 6. So under the 6 step-by-step exercise, which is highlighted there, it says before you begin these steps, make sure that your computer is on, obviously. Sign into Windows if necessary and start PowerPoint. We've already gone through all these steps. Then the next instruction is click the File tab. Then we notice that the Backstage view appears. Then we are going to click New, and the new tab for Backstage view appears, and then blank presentation. A new presentation appears in the normal right view, and then we pause and leave this blank presentation open for the next exercises. So this is just a variation of opening or creating a new presentation. So the instruction said you click the File tab, which is there. Or something I haven't thought of. Let me change the color of the mouse so that you can easily follow it. Let me just quickly change the color of the mouse. Nope, not that one. I think that's good enough. Perfect. So we go to File, we have your Backstage, then we have the new button or option here, and then click blank presentation. The same effect happens, but you are meant to leave the presentation open. Slide number 7 is basic information that you guys should read through. And then we have more basic information to say most slides have a layout, which is simply a predefined arrangement of placeholders for text or objects such as charts or pictures. So you're going to read this information as you go along. Then slide number 9 is where we have our next step-by-step exercise. So in this one, we are choosing a different layout. So the instruction says use the new blank presentation that is still open from the previous exercise, which is this one. We haven't done anything to it yet. Then we are going to then click the Home tab to make it active if it's necessary, and then click Layout. This is a command within the Slides group. A drop-down menu called a gallery appears, displaying PowerPoint's default layouts as shown on the right here. The title of the gallery is Office Theme, indicating that all these layouts come from the default theme named Office. So we go to the Home tab, click Layout so that we can see this. So you simply go back to your document. We're in the Home tab, and then we click the Layout button under the Slides group. When you click this button, you have your different layouts available to you within the Office theme layouts. So we're using the Office theme layouts, and these are the ones that you have. Simple as that. We move on to the next instruction, which says click the title and content thumbnail in the gallery. The gallery closes the PowerPoint and applies the chosen layout to the current slide as shown in the right. So we are going to pause leave the presentation open to be used in the next exercise. So you go back to your blank document, you go in the home tab, click layout, click content, title and content. We now notice that it switches from what it was before. So we have now a title and content layout applied. So we then move on to our next exercise. Remember, we are still going. Currently, we're on page 11, and going back to our tasks, we need to go through all of them from 1 to 24. So we are still moving. So as you go through, you shall read all of this text given to you on slide number 11, including slide number 12. And then we move on to our next step-by-step exercise. So using the slide that was still open from the previous exercise, click on the placeholder at the top of the slide. The text, click to add title disappears and the blinking insertion point appears in the placeholder. Instruction number 2 says type discussion points. So you are going to then type discussion points into here. So in the newer versions of Office, this has been changed from click to add title to double tap to add title, but it's the exact same thing. So you're then going to hello? Are we back?
Yeah, we hear you, madam.
Okay, great.
Yes,
Okay.
but you're too fast.
Pardon?
You're too fast.
Where should I start from?
Hmm. I'm lost.
Where should I start from? Who said I'm too fast so that I can go back?
The different
Maybe they've
formats.
changed their mind.
Which one?
The different formats.
The different formats. Okay, different formats then. So different formats, I believe, are the layouts, isn't it? Okay, I'll assume this is what he means, you choosing a different layout. So we first started by creating a blank document. And then within that blank document, we can apply different layouts to our document. So the idea is slide number 9, which says we use the new blank presentation that is still open from the previous slide. We are then meant to click the home tab to make it active if necessary, and then click the layout button or command. A drop-down called a gallery appears, displaying PowerPoint's default layouts as shown on the right, which is here. We are then meant to change our default layout to the title and content layout. So I'll simply undo to what we had before. So this is how it was originally before we did those steps. So you notice that we have this phrase in the center and we have another phrase here at the center. So basically this is our title and subtitle layout, but we want to change it to a title with a content layout. So in order to do that, we click the home tab and then click the layout. So we now have different layouts that we can apply. And this is the gallery that is being shown. So the one that we've been asked to choose is the one that says title and content. The moment you change that, it removes what was there and replaces it with the new layout. So we are supposed to choose title and content, and you do that by simply going to the home tab, the layout, and then selecting the appropriate layout. In our case, this one. So maybe just to pause a little, let me do some stock taking. So if everyone is following in the group chat, can everyone type title and content within the group chat? Title and content. All right. We have quite a few titles and contents in the group chat, so people are following. So we move on to the next section. So after that exercise, you just have some text to guide you with what's going on. So you simply read what's been said. You are then going to read what's on number 12 and then move on to your next exercise, which is on number 13. Remember, we are still within our task 1. We're supposed to do everything from slide 1 to 24. That's where we are, 1 to 24. Currently, we're on 13, so we still have some more work to do before we move on to the next task. So using the slide that's still open from the previous exercise, click the placeholder at the top of the slide and then type in discussion points. So you're going to type this word in what you have. So you had converted this into a title and content slide. So you type discussion points and then you go on to the next instruction, which says click the text at the bottom of the lower placeholder. The words click to add text disappear and the insertion point appears. Type customer surveys and then press enter to move the insertion point down a new line. So you're going to paste, or rather type customer surveys. Once you reach the end, you press enter on your keyboard and the insertion point moves over to the next line. So you go back to your slides and then once you're done with number 4, you move on to instruction 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So 5 is type inventory tracking and press enter. So you are then going to type inventory tracking and then you're going to press enter. After you're done, it moves on to the next line. You type in the next text, press enter. Then go on to the next one. Second last text, you type store security, next, and then the final one. And then press enter. So at this point, you've done 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. You move on to the next slide. Number 10 says type cash drawer management, then click anywhere in the blank area outside the placeholder to clear its borders from the screen. Your slide should look like the one shown on the right here. So we type our last line. And then once you're done typing, you click outside the border to clear the text, and this is what you should come up with. So what you're seeing here is exactly what is being shown in this picture here. So once you're done, it says you pause, you leave the presentation open to use in the next exercise. Even when multiple slide presentation is not needed at the meeting, displaying an agenda, a list of discussion points, or a list of breakout rooms can be helpful for a group. So you have more notes that you read through, but this time it's notes on how to save a presentation. We now move on to our next exercise. So it says use the presentation that is still on the screen from the previous or the preceding exercise, which is this one. So we are still using this exercise. On the quick access toolbar, click Save. The Save As tab of the Backstage view appears. So we go back here. So on the quick access toolbar, you click Save, which is there. So we have the Save As Backstage view opening up, which is here. It then says navigate to the folder where you want to save your file. To do so, click SkyDrive or computer and then click Browse. Then use the Save As dialog box to change the location as needed. So we are going to then, number 3 says select the text in the file name box by dragging the mouse pointing over it and then press delete to delete it. Instruction number 4 says type managers meeting, and then once we type managers meeting, number 5 says click save. PowerPoint saves the presentation in the folder you chose under the name you gave it. So this is what we are going to do. So under the Save As Backstage area, we are saving this PowerPoint that we have just created, the one that has the discussion points. So to make things easier for yourselves, I suggest you create a folder using your own student number so that whichever file you are going to save will be automatically saved to there, or at least all your documents will go to one location. So I'll save mine to the documents or my desktop. So let's say I browse my PC and then say I want to save mine in documents here. Let me undo move. There we go. So I'm in my documents, and I know it's my documents because it says this PC and documents. I'll create a new folder, and then I'll name it my student number, such as 2019 01229. So I'll then go within this folder with my student number, and then it asked me to move my cursor and then press delete so that I get rid of the default name, and then type managers meeting under the file name. Once I'm happy with the file name and I know that it is within the new document I have created, which is my student number, I will then say save. Once you've done that, you have completed this exercise, then you pause, leave the presentation open to be used in the next exercise. So you have more text to read about saving a new presentation, and then we move on to the next exercise. But before I do that, let's see where we are. So can everyone in the chat type managers meeting? There we go. So managers meeting, everyone seems to be following. Okay, I think that's enough managers meetings. So we are currently all together. So moving on to the next exercise, we are at slide number 20. It says use the manager's meeting presentation that is still open from the previous slide. So you now notice rather that the instruction has slightly shifted in telling you exactly which document you're supposed to be using. So it's saying this time, use manager's meeting presentation that is still open from the previous exercise. And we know that it's called manager's meeting because you just named it manager's meeting. So let me mute everyone. So we know it's called manager's meeting because we've just named the file manager's meeting. So this is the one that you are supposed to use, and this is the one that's being referred to here. So it then says, click the file tab and then click the save as command in the save as tab of the backstage view. Navigate to the folder where you want to save your file. In this case, we are saving all our files under your student number folder, the one that you have just created. It will make life easier for you, but if you can remember different locations where you save your file, you do that. But I suggest you have one single folder in which you save all your files as you go through the lab. You are then going to change. So in the Save As dialog box, next to the Save Type As, click the current type of the menu and it will open. And then we change that file type to the PowerPoint 1997 to 2003 presentation as shown below. Once you've done that, select the file's name in the file name box, delete the old name, and then type a new one. And this new one will be called old format discussion points. You then click save and then close the presentation. So I'll now go through all these steps from 1 all the way up to 6. So we go back to our manager's meeting first. It then said go to the file tab. So we click file and then click save as here. So once you click the save as, it will show us where we are currently saving our files. In this case, it's our student number. So you then click there and you notice that the file name is still manager's meeting, meaning it's still referring to this file, but we've been asked to change the file type to the one that says 1997 to 2003. So we change that, and then in the file name box, we type in a new name and call it old format discussion points, and then click save. So once you've saved that, you have a new PowerPoint that's created named old format discussion points.ppt. The other one had pptx. And when you go inside your folder with the student number that you've just created, you'll notice that you now have 2 files so far. So you have manager's meeting and old format discussion points. So you save and then close the presentation. So we pause, leave PowerPoint open to use in the next exercise. And it's also giving you further information to say by default, PowerPoint 2013 saves presentations in the type of an XML format, which is not compatible with versions PowerPoint prior to 2007. So you have more notes to read, which you shall read. And then once you get to number 24, I believe you should be done with task number 1. So that's how you go about it. So once you reached slide number 24, you are finished with the first task. So now that we know how to go about the assignment, you now move on to question number 2, and it will give you instructions to say, do the next exercise on set the save options found on slide 25 to 28 and change the default interval to 4 minutes. Get a screenshot of your default saving location on your PC or your phone with the new updated time interval. So you just simply go to slide number 25 and then read what it says. It will tell you exactly how you should go about this thing. It says click save, you click save. It says click saves in this format, you do it. Number 4, you take note of your default location and so on and so forth. So you have the following instructions on slide number 27 and finally 28, which shows the default interval as 10 minutes, which you should change to 4 minutes. Now that we've gone through one question of the lab, at this point you should be able to do the rest of the assignment. So now this is where I will stop and then start responding to your questions. So everyone who has a question, simply type it within the group chat and then I'll answer it. So now type in your questions in the group chat so that I can go through them. No, I'm already recording the lecture so that it is posted on Moodle for everyone to see. So it's been recorded already. No, it's not possible to extend the due date because all you have to do is read. There is no thinking involved. All you are doing is reading and following the instructions. So no, the due date won't be extended. Questions, please. This Zoom meeting is being recorded, so it will be posted on Moodle. So far, those are the only questions I've received. Everything is fine. Perfect. Does everyone agree that everything's fine? Yes, everyone agrees. Perfect. Great. So your ability to read English and understand what's being said within the lecture slide is what the lab is. There is no thinking that you are doing externally, except for a small few tweaks which I have made. So if you can read English, you should be able to go about the assignment. But before I move on, there's one point I want to make clear. So let me share my screen again. So instruction number 5 or task number 5 under your lab tasks. In this one, you're being asked to use a template. So I'll go through the instruction and then show you how you are going to go about it if you can't understand what's going on. So number 5 says, next do the exercise starting from slide number 34 to 37. The instruction 3 says click on the hyperlink, but note that the classic photo album hyperlink is not available. Thus, you will have to search for it in the search box instead. So I'll quickly go to slide 34 to slide number 37. So I'll just simply go down to slide 34, which is here. So the step-by-step exercise is simply create a presentation from a template. So it says to create a presentation from a template, do the following. Click the File tab and then click New to open the new tab. And under the search box, which is the instruction 3 being referred to, click the photo albums hyperlink. Clicking the hyperlink will take you to the thumbnail images of the photo album templates. So I'll go back to the instruction document. So this is what is being referred to. The instruction 3 says click on the hyperlink for photo albums. So in order to go there, so you go to File, New. Before that, there were hyperlinks here that said photo album under the search bar, but we don't have those hyperlinks anymore. So in order to do that, you are simply going to go in the search bar and then click search for classic photo album. Once you're done doing that, you're going to click the search box, or rather the search, and then this should give you the classic photo album template, which you click and then click create. So this is what you should end up with once you search for it. Now, some people don't have access to the internet, because you need access to the internet to download the template. So it says you need internet to do this. If you do not have access to the internet to download the template, it is included in the lab files. So open the template and continue with the exercise that follows up to slides number 47. So meaning you have to go back to the folder which you used and downloaded all those other files from Moodle, and it is found here, the classic photo album template. So anything POTX is a PowerPoint template which is found here, and I have downloaded it to my PC. So in order to use that template, you just simply double click it to open, and that template will now appear. And that's how you go about instruction number 5, and then do everything all the way up to 47. So I'm now going to unmute everyone so you can ask questions. Any questions? Oh yes, there's one. Explain a bit on archive, zip, or compressed files. Oh, so I'm muting everyone again. So now when it comes to archiving your files or zipping your files, you already did this in your first assignment. So let's go back to the folder which you were creating. So remember, this was the student file that you are using. So currently you only have 2 files. But when you look at your entire document, under point number 13, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You should have 9 files within your folder document. So by the time you reach that point, these files would have increased to 9. So once you are done, you're going to go outside your folder. You are then going to right click your file and then choose add to archive. Choose whichever format you want and then click OK. And then you have your archive file created for you. And this is the one that you are going to upload to Moodle, and it will contain all of your files. Is compressing your files and folders clear now?
Yes.
All right. Great. Any other questions? Oh, we have a no from Martin. Martin, what's not clear? Can you type it in the chat? Which part did you get for zipping your files? When you say drag your files, dragging them where? From where to where? Martin, I think try using your unmute the mic, and then try to see if you can ask there so that you have more chance to explain what you're asking.
My question is, can you drag the files, say from a folder to a zip file?
No, you have to make sure they are already in the folder before you zip.
Okay.
Any other questions with the lab? Any questions? It's clear?
Some problems.
Huh?
I have to teach my son a lesson.
Madam,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, my question was why you have to drag your files there, because I remember we were taught to create a folder,
Mm-hmm.
then sort of compress them, put them in the archive file.
Yes.
So my question was, can they be dragged from a folder to just the archive? How do you compress them into one?
No. So when you're creating a compressed file, you have to make sure they are already in the folder you want them to be.
And what's worse, you put Nala in danger.
So if this is what let me try to share my screen so that I.
The future of
So
our pride.
Weber.
I just want I could do it. So I could be brave like you.
Okay. So now, so these are your files that you're working with. Let's assume you have all 9 at this point. You are now supposed to create your archive file. In order to do that, you first need to go one step back in your file window so that you can see the folder itself. So remember, they are still inside. You don't need to drag them or copy them anywhere. Just make sure they're already inside the file. You move one step back. You're then going to right click on the document or the folder that contains all the 9 files. Click add to archive, then choose the format you want, for instance, RAW, and then say OK. The reason why it's giving an error is because it's currently open in this window. So let's start again. So I'll delete all of these versions. These were all examples. So this is the folder. It contains 2 files. We again assume it's all of the 9. You go back, right click, add to archive, choose whichever format you want, and then say OK. Once you do that, all the files that you want are already within this file. And you can double check by simply clicking on it. Once that opens, you should be able to see the folder name, which matches this folder that you created it from. But when you click inside it again, you will see the 2 files that you've just compressed. In your case, there will be 9. So there is no need to drag files in and out from here. For instance, I can't drag this file and then put it in there. it will ask me to start the entire process all over again to recreate it. So once you click OK, that's when this one appears, but you need to ensure that all your files are already in there prior to you creating your zip file. Do you guys have questions in the chat? Ask. Is this the last lab? No. This is not your last lab.
Ah,
Do you have any other questions? Do we have questions? No questions. Perfect. Martin, is it clear on creating the zip file now?
It's somehow clear, yes, because I was confused how we were supposed to make a folder, again, compress it.
Okay, so you create the folder in the beginning before you start the lab. The idea is when you're choosing your location, you keep choosing the same location every single time.
I mean, madam, since we know that now, what about the mistakes we made on the last one, the last assignment?
What mistakes did you make in the last assignment?
The same mistakes I'm raising here.
So in your zip file, how many files did you create inside it?
8, as we were told. I think that's 8.
Yes, there should have been 8 files inside.
Yes. But I didn't. I just dragged them all into the same compressed file.
But were they inside? As long as they went
Yes.
inside,
What?
then it's fine.
Oh, all right. All right. Thank you.
However you decide to go about it, as long as it achieves the same task. There are many ways to do things in computers. So as long as it does the same thing, you are well and good.
Okay. All right. Clear then.
New class ya paso ni. Group application.
Any other questions in the group? All right, then I will end the chat and then post this on Moodle for people to refer to. If you have questions as you go along the lab, you can simply email me. I will respond or use the announcements tab on Moodle. So if there are no questions, I'll end the.
Oh, madam, before you go.
Yes.
Yes. What about the makeup tests?
The makeup tests are on the 30th of April, which is next week, Thursday.
All right.
For the people who.
Thank you.
Not for those people who wrote and then didn't do well. As long as you didn't attempt the test or the quizzes, everything will be on Thursday.
Madam,
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the same thing for where you have to save the documents. As in, what about if like on your computer and I mean on your laptop, it comes like where you have to say send to after choosing the same file, I mean the same folder. Then it says send to compressed zipped folder. It's the same thing.
When you say send to compressed folder,
Yes.
is this after you finish doing everything or as you are working?
No, as you finish everything, then now you want to like the same thing where you want to save it, the same folder. Then when you right click, the only options that come is where like send to compressed zip folder.
Yes,
That's the same.
that's the one.
Okay.
That's the one. So different softwares use different naming conventions. So I use WinRAR. I think WinZip uses a different way of naming things, or 7-zip uses a different thing. As long as it creates a compressed folder, that's fine.
Okay.
Natalie is saying you can't hear what I'm saying. I'm going to mute a few people so that the background noise reduces. Okay then. I think everyone now has a basic idea of what to do with going through the lab. So all you need to do is read English. If you can read English and locate where those commands are found within the Office package, in this case PowerPoint, you should be good to go. And of course, this is not your last lab. You still have one more to do within Excel. And that one will be published in May. So if there are no questions, I will now end the meeting and then post it on Moodle. Okay, I get a madam. Yes, Joy?
Madam, what if the lockdown continues up to like the end of May? Do you think we're going to write exams?
I personally have no information regarding what will happen because classes end on the 22nd of May. And then from the 25th to the 29th, I believe, is meant to be the study period for the exams. And 1st June, we should write exams. But going by how the current situation is, I doubt we shall open in time for the exams. So we have a few options, which I'm speculating. I assume we go forward with the exams online or divert the exams to a time when the school will finally open.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Welcome. But as soon as, I think we will know more details once by 18th of May, the last week of classes, probably management will communicate to everyone because I equally don't know. So if I don't know if I should start preparing an exam online or just hold off until everyone is back in school.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay then guys, I will leave you to it. This shouldn't take you more than 2 hours. You have all the information you need within the lecture slides. It's a very, very short lab and very simple. But if you have questions, just reach me via email. We'll see you soon. All right then.